about the customer. This I record okay. So the C's are more about the customer. What does it cost for the customer, and what is the communication that you are giving to the customer, and how convenience is that whole thing for the thing. So price is something which can always be debated, right? So, I mean, for me, an article which is worth 500 rupees might be expensive, but for somebody, what is 500? I mean, I can just go ahead and pay it, right? So I was giving one example in the class yesterday, is that all of us jump signal lights. And as a matter of fact, I just jumped 2 of them this morning, also to be here at 9:15. So what happens, you worried, if you jump a signal, the policeman will be there. So what do? I just give him $100 and say, okay, enjoy your breakfast. The weather is cold, and then I go forward. So for me, the cost of jumping it is just $100. And $100 is okay. I mean, I can calculate $100 versus 41 students. Yeah, it's about how much? Less than 3 rupees per student. I think I can make it up. But that is what is one of the problems with this kind of a penalty system. Instead of charging me, it's a price element. It should be more costly to me. How does it become more costly to me? They say, okay, you jumped the signal. It was still showing 30 seconds and you jumped it. Wait here for 2 minutes. So that would be a better way of doing. So all of us, if you look at it always from a price point of view, you may not really be able to convey the right message. For example, another thing that happened with the government was, these national highways, you have what is called weighing machines, which they weigh your trucks to see that you're not overloading your truck. And what the government, and they obviously changed the rule, the government said that if you overload your truck, we will charge you some fees per kg or per ton or something. So it was better to overload my truck and send it than have a second truck. So sometimes you must modify your rules. So similarly, the 4 P's were from a company's point of view, and the 4 C's are from a user point of view. So now I want you to talk more about 4 C's rather than about 4 P's, which means that the 7 P's are price. What would be the equivalent of price in the C? Would be cost. Promotion would be what? Promotion is advertising, right? So, but what is the message that I want? So promotion becomes convenience. Physical evidence would be that you got to feel the whole thing, how it is. Then people or the product becomes the actual, yes. And then place would be where would I actually convenience and things like that. So there's a slide which converts that, of course. 7 P's become 7 C's, right? So promotion becomes convenience. People become courtesy. Yeah, I'm sure all of you have been contact. I don't want to buy in this shop because the person is not good or kind of very grumpy or whatever it is. So physical, all said and done, like I like that pair of shoes on Amazon. But what I would do is I will go and try it out in a store, and then I come back and buy it because I really want to be sure about it. So then what does Amazon do then? So all the store shops are going to be very upset because it says, sir, we are only advertising and the guy is buying out there. So how did Amazon or how did Samsung or Nike solve the problem? No, that's the other one. No, I'm saying, let's say you want to buy a phone. Let's say you want to buy a Samsung phone. You see the phone on the store, on the online, and then you really want to go and physically see it in the store. So what used to happen is you go see it in the store, you like it, and then you order it online because it's cheaper to order it online. So now all the store guys started complaining. So how did Samsung or anybody else solve that problem? Yeah, that's one thing. But what they did is they gave the numbering different. So if you buy it online, it will be Samsung 33, but you will never find a Samsung 33 on the store. You might find Samsung 35. You must be smart enough to understand that Samsung 33 or 35. So that's kind of a thing. So we completed all this. I guess there were no more questions on that. So let's now move to a different thing. One thing is for sure, and this is the topic that we'll be talking for the next 15-20 minutes, and then go into it. So the thing is, whenever there's market, there is competition, right? There is no market, there is no business which there is no competition. And if there is no competition, it's really not a business worth entering, or it's a government-run business, okay? Or it's a monopolistic business, and monopolistic businesses don't really do well. So the question is, if there is business, how good are you compared to competition? Are you better than competition? Or are you being considered because of competition? How do you view yourself? How will you sustain, and how is it that some companies fail? Most importantly, why are not all companies competitive? Some of them are slow, lethargic, they really don't want to compete. And some companies are not across all the places, right? They might be only in Europe, they might be just in South India, they might just be somewhere else. They don't want to be expanding into other regions. So what is the reason why some companies do well and bad? One method that we decided to, that I think I should probably close the door. That was a subtle message. So one method that is used to analyze how good, how mature a company is, how are they doing in the market, is what is known as the Gartner's Magic Quadrant. Now, when you're doing your assignment, I want you to use Gartner's Magic Quadrant and do the analysis. So Magic Quadrant said that we will use two parameters to compare a company, an x-axis and y-axis. One is completeness of vision. The second is the ability to execute. What is vision? Long-term goal. So you really want to be, I want to be the CEO of my company. That's a great vision to have. Okay, but she's already laughing. So why is she laughing? Because this guy is just dreaming. The guy doesn't even know how to. You're not telling about me. I'm just. That's yours. So if that's your vision, then you must also have a plan to execute it. So I want to be the CEO. I want to be actually, when you're young, they say, I want to be prime minister. I want to be all this, but that's just a vision. That's just a passing vision. Do you really have the power or the will in you to do it? So all of us have some great visions, and especially commentators have the best visions. They say that, oh, this is not the way Kohli should have placed the shot. This is not the way. Actually, Dhoni did a big mistake. He should not have chosen to field. He should have batted. They can give you, come to the field and play it, man, and then we'll realize what it is. So two things that make any company successful is the completeness of vision and the ability to execute. So we may have some great dreams, but if we don't know how to execute it, then we are in big trouble. So only those companies which are capable of doing these two things would be successful. So Gardner's Magic Quadrant said, let's pick up companies in any sector and see how they position themselves in their ability to visualize and ability to execute. So what are the three things anybody can visualize about in a company? What would they visualize? A large market share. Then what else? Expansion into that. and new features in my car product. And what does ability to execute mean? How will I get there? How will I be cost efficient? What are the other challenges would I face? How do I price my product? How will I beat the competition? So these are the things that they do. So Gartner's Magic Quadrant uses these two tools to come up with something else. I'll skip this slide and go to the next one, and then we'll come back. So they have completeness of vision here. So what does this graph mean? Is that the farther you go away, they have greater vision, right? The higher up you go, they have greater ability to execute. So who are leaders? Leaders are those which have great vision and they have the ability to execute. I mean, there's nothing to say about it, right? I mean, that's exactly what they are doing. Great ability to execute and great vision. Now, who are these visionaries? There also can be replaced as dreamers, right? Who are these dreamers? Oh, we'll do this, we can do all this, but like procrastination is a wonderful word, right? So they don't have the ability to execute, but we are not talking about individuals, we're talking about companies. So companies have great plans, but they don't know how to fulfill it. Now, leaders, we have understood. Visionaries, who are niche players? Niche players saying, I don't have a great vision. I just want to be a Bangalore-based company. I really want to serve Bangalore as my market, and I'm happy. So they don't have big dreams. They have limited dreams. I want to be an Indian telecom company. That's all. I don't want to have great visions. I'll just stay, I'll address Indian market, and that is what it is. So they don't really need to have great execution powers because they are limited in their own capability. Who are challengers? Challengers are those who have the ability to execute, but they're not really executing. They are not focused on it. So let's take any industry for that matter. Think of any industry. Let's say, which one? Tata? Tata Steel is because you have Tata Steel for your... Okay. So Tata Steel. Now, Tata Steel is a leader in that. Okay, there's no doubt about it because they have a vision from what is their logo of Tata. Let's talk about Tata per se, not as in Tata Steel. From steel to salt, or from salt to software. They are they are virtually into everything. So they are really big leaders out there. They have a great ability to visualize, and they have been able to execute it. Now, they could be a small steel company like TMT Steel or whatever that company is. They're really not going well because they don't know how to do it. But yes, the reason we will discuss the reason, but let's understand where they are. Okay. Or let's say, okay, to make one available in each of these markets, let's move from Tata Steel to, let's say, Big Basket. Big Basket is a good. So where do you think is Big Basket? Big. What is a niche player? A niche player is somebody who is in a very limited market. So they are not okay. So we'll do Big Basket versus Amazon. Okay, so let's do Big Basket versus Amazon. Amazon leader, absolutely no doubt about it. The guy is virtually doing everything. He's a leader. He can execute it. Tomorrow, if Jeff Bezos decides, he can open up 20 other countries and then he can do it. Great leader. He knows exactly what he thinks, and what is his strategy is what is it? Lip sympathy. What is lip sympathy? Meaning just I say bolna. Okay, oh, so you had to come early. Oh, so sorry. That's all. There's not showing any more action beyond just words, lip sympathy. But he played it around. He said every employee must have a lip sympathy towards his customers. What is the expansion of listen? A lip, listen, innovate, and produce. So he says that first, when your customer calls, you must listen to him. You will not interrupt your customer for what it is, what is his problem. And then you will innovate or come out with a solution and then produce that action into it. So he's talking about ability to execute. So he's really a leader out there. And we'll come to the challenger later. Then let's say who is the visionary. The visionary could be, let's say, MySpace. Mindspace, that's that new taxi all-in-one app. Mine, right? Whatever. So mine is what? At this moment, we really don't know about them, right? Mine is a small company. They believe that they are India's super one app. Maybe if they get a lot of money, if they get good support from each one of you, they can do a great job. So they are visionaries out here. Then we have niche players. Niche player would be somebody who is very, very local, local food delivery services or somebody like that. Like which one? Penza, yeah, maybe that's the one. Only have a very limited, but they're doing a good job out of it. All that very under. Who is a challenger? The challenger to Amazon would be, say, Facebook. So Facebook has not really gone into food delivery or let's say Google. Google could be a best example of it. Overnight, they can become a Amazon-like service provider. But why are they not doing it? Because they're not inclined to do it. They are busy doing 101 things. They're busy in each of their services. But should they make up their mind, they will be able to move in, right? So I hope you guys. Need not be. Let's say, let's take the example of electric scooters. Let's take the example of electric scooters. In my opinion, I don't think there's a leader, anybody at this stage. At this stage, we'll assume that nobody is a leader. In my opinion, Ola is doing visionary. They want to be number one. They're doing a lot of noise. They're taking your money. They have great plans. What speciality about the Hosur plant? Only women. Only women. They're doing all kinds of things. They're under hugely automated stuff. They have some great vision, but they're really struggling to execute. They're running into all kinds of delivery problems and all kinds of things. And what you need out there is stop visualizing. Okay, stop now. No more visions. Get to an action mode. You need to get rid of your chief visionary officer and get a chief production officer in place. That's the first thing that they need to do. Is get somebody who really knows how to run a factory. So that is what they need. They need an ability. We're just making some assumptions here. I began by saying, let's assume there's no lead. I thought I'll put Ather here. I thought I'll put Ather in a niche market. We can debate about it. It's more about learning the matrix rather than Ather. In my opinion, is purely Bangalore-based company. They're doing very well. I don't think you see more Athers outside of Bangalore than you see in Bangalore, right? Maybe, exactly. So they are a niche player. They seem to be reasonably good on the vision part of it. They're not really good on the vision. They want to be Bangalore-based and sitting along. But they're quite high on the execution capability. So if somebody like you who has got $5 million or $10 million, what would you want to do? You will invest here so that they go here. So you will say, you guys have done a great job in South India. You've done some brilliant thing. Your autos or your scooters don't catch fire. One thing I see about the atheists is the guys are always sipping on the road. The speed in which they go, I mean, I really envy them. Yeah, but I'm still not got the permission from my wife to switch from a, a fossil fuel to an electric thing. So if you get the point, is that if you invest, where would you invest? If between the two companies, visionary and niche player, if you have $10 million, where would you invest? You would want to invest so that you can move this guy to be her. This guy says, I know how to go there, but he's struggling. But look at the challenger, who according to me is a challenger for the same thing, is TVS, Bajaj, and Honda, or anybody. But they are not going there. Why are they not going there? Is because, hey, come on, I'm busy doing my own, what are those vehicles? My TVS Star City and my other vehicles. I'm happy in that market. You know that why if Venu Srinivasan or Rahul Bajaj or whoever he is wakes up and makes up his mind, very quickly they can move into these positions. So challengers are always those guys who have a great ability to execute, but they're not really inclined in that market. So this gives any company, a person like him or a person like her, who really wants to analyze a company in a sector, it's very easy for you to put them up in a magic quadrant. So what are the characteristics of a leader? We'll look at it here. What is the leader? Effectively deliver the vision. That is, deliver is execute, and vision, and a good shape for the future. They really know how they're going in the future. Visionaries, they are unable to make things happen. They're great fans. I mean, there is another slide I'll come. There used to be a TV serial called Mungeri Lal Ke Haseen Sapne. I don't know if you're a very, very old serial, you guys won't know it. It's like this guy sees something and then he gets into a dream and things like that. So these guys can dream very well. They are there. Who are niche players, successfully focused in a specific product or sector, meaning sector meaning a market, a geographic market, and unable to outperform or innovate. So they are unable to do better. Maybe because they don't have the money, they don't have the guts. Nobody wants to. I mean, it's quite risky, right? Putting your neck into this. So challengers are performing well today. They command a great influence. So challenger, Bajaj, they are doing very well today. They have a great influence in the auto sector. They are unable or, or unaware of the direction they should go. Should I go into electric? Should I not go into electric? Who is going to risk it? And many companies don't even risk it. They want to see how badly do you perform. Overnight, they can come and go. So this is about the Gardner's Magic Quadrant. And I want you all to use this data. For example, I don't know how well you can see it. We believe that Zoom is a leader in it. It comes to conference calls and we are using Zoom here. But Google is still out here. If Google makes up their mind, they can really come ahead and become a leader. Zoom is really a leader because they have been able to have visualized themselves very well. Every problem they have been able to address it. And very, very rarely does Zoom let you down. So, and these could be local players. Maybe Quanxi could be a Chinese company. Blue Jeans was trying to become very popular. I think Blue Jeans got acquired by somebody also, by AT&T. So they knew that Blue Jeans can actually has a Blue Jeans by Verizon. Okay, so they got acquired by them. So just a similar kind of a matrix. So that tomorrow, when you are doing your assignment for whatever company that you have, you should be able to put them and explain why you've put them. If you put them in niche player, there's nothing like which is right or which is wrong. Everything is right, everything is wrong. Only time will tell how your company has performed. But what I am looking at is how are you able to visualize the situation? Make sense? Any questions? So what does ability to execute mean? Pricing your product, making sure that the customer experience is good, setting up a good operations team, market execution. Vision is how do you have a business model? What is your strategy? How well do you understand the market? Which geography do you want to be? Okay. Done. This is something that you all will read. And what's the time? On time, huh? On time for finishing the 15 minutes extra. So now, oh, actually, I overshot by another 15, right? But it's okay. We'll now move into what is actually planned for today, which is, give me 1 minute. I'll have to struggle through this. I have not shared the. It's there. As early as, when did you last see it? There's only class one. Okay, I'll make sure that we'll make sure that that happens. Now, it should be, it's class PPTs, they should be linked up. But we'll do it during the, make sure that I do it before I move from here. So now we'll pick up another one. Share screen. Okay. Yeah, all good? Okay. So you got late traffic, weather? That's an honest answer. Okay. So how do companies actually grow? And what is the motive of every organization? The motive of every organization is by default, the good way or the bad way, by hook or crook, by make money, what is it called? By hard work or by robbing, or whatever it is. And you see a lot of companies actually rob. They rob patents, they do kinds of lot of things to ensure that there's a market share. The book that you should read is called Art of War. And don't even write it down. It's 700 pages. Okay. And it's a text which is copied from the Chinese Art of War, Sun Tzu. And that's even more complicated. Try converting a Chinese script into an English script. It's really not got there. But just make sure that when you comment about it, do talk about it. So what does growth mean? Growth means that I should grow my market. I am today a 10 crore company. I want to become a 15 crore company. Simple as that. It's all about. And 10 crore company, I get 1 crore profit. I want to be a 15 crore company. I want to get 5 crore profit. I want higher profitability. And eventually man needs power. And man also has, what is the highest level on the Maslow's pyramid? Self-actuation. How do I get self-actuation? By employing more people, being more respectable in the society, and then making sure that, there's that, I hear about that Gujarat diamond merchant, every Diwali, he'll give a house to all of them. I mean, it's a great feeling, right? Yeah, so that's the kind of feeling that everyone. So every company wants to grow in number of employees, the societal, the contribution they do to the world, and things like that. So how do you do that? And who controls your growth? We just discussed that I control my growth using the 4 P's. I must know my strength. I, as in my company, I must know my weakness. I must know where my opportunity has, and I must know where is my threat. That's one thing that I must know. then I must also know my customer. Who's my customer? Are these the customers, or there's somebody else? There is a better customer that I could actually be running behind. That's not enough. You must know who are your enemies, right? Enemies is a bad word. Who are your competitors? Yeah, so what is he doing? And if you don't know who is your competitor, I think you're really not in that line of business. And most importantly, you must know your market, right? You know, where am I? What is my market made up of? Does the market take the price that I'm willing to give? Things like that. The customer would be a subset of the market. The customer could be a subset of the market. Example, now that you brought it up, thinking about, okay, let me redefine it. The customer is a segment of the market, meaning the customer of my interest is a segment of the market. And the topic we are talking about is segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Let's say Dayan and Sagar MBA program. What is a market? Education. Education is a market. I know what is all happening. I really want to know new things happening in the education sector. What are the new policies which are coming up? I cannot close my eyes to it. I want to know what's happening on law. I want to happening what's happening on all these things. But my interest is the executive MBA program. So, but you can't say I want to know about executive MBA. Let me ignore chapters 1 to 14 and only concentrate on 15, right? So I hope you get the difference. Technically, what you're saying is correct. I should have put this there and I should have put that, right? I should know my market, and knowing my market, I should decide who is my customer, right? I'll make sure that next time I do it, it will take care of it. So then we talk about, let me go full screen. Let's see what happens. So, you're wondering whether to talk about this or not. Despite knowing the market, despite knowing your competitor, despite knowing anything, you still don't know how business actually evolves. There is something called the invisible hand that actually drives the market. Okay, what I mean by that is you know your customer, you know your competition, you know the regulator. What is the regulator? The policies, the principles. You don't do this. You must have an MRP, and you must have this one. All this are there, but there is also another element which is called that invisible hand, which is probably the emotions of the market, or the feelings of the customer, or the things that you are doing right or wrong. They might actually also drive them. Okay. The invisible hand, now that I brought it up, the invisible hand was an idea of a guy called Adam Smith. What he said was that, what is the role of the government? Should the government poke its nose in everything? Should the government decide the price of everything? Should the government, you will learn it in term 3. That's why I don't want to really push it other than talking for another 2 minutes. So Adam Smith said that you should not dictate everything. You should allow that invisible hand to determine how the market is. Meaning that he gave 3 examples. He gave the example even before light was discovered or invented. Depends on how you look at it. Oh, electricity was invented or discovered? Invented, huh? Okay, good. So there's no confusion on that. But electricity was there before that. Sources were there. Okay. Okay. So very debatable, right? Okay. Anyway, so Adam Smith came up with this idea even before there was electricity. So he gave the example of a candle maker, the butcher, and the baker. Bread, or the baker. So he said 3 people: the butcher, the candle maker, and the baker. So they of them. He said, how should you determine the price of the candle? How should you determine how much should the price of bread be? Who is going to determine the price of the meat? He said the government don't poke your nose into this. Just keep out of it. If you, the candle that you make, it may cost $1. The candle that is coming out for somebody is $2. But if that candle burns longer, if that candle has greater properties, people will still go buy it from them at $2. So why do you want to get everything to be controlled? Point number one. Point number two, how much should be produced? Who will determine? Okay, this is, all of you guys say, I don't eat meat on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and all that stuff. So it is up to the butcher to decide how much should be made available and what it is. So he said the government should not regulate the market. It is up to the guy to do it. If he's not able to sell it at $2, he has to decide for himself. Maybe I'm not selling it, I will have to go and sell it somewhere else. It's up to him. Don't let the government decide what happens. So anything that you will learn in greater detail when you come to term 3. Yes. Currently? Yeah. So now what is happening? I mean, I really want to go. Let's go into it for one more minute. And what is MRP? Minimum, maximum? Maximum retailing price. So this is also a term called minimum procurement price. The minimum procurement price. So that is what all the farm, the government came up with farm laws and they fought about it. What they are saying is the minimum procurement price, let the market decide. They said, no. We will produce it and the government should buy it at this. So the issue is, who is going to decide whether the market, so you have a bad year, right? It didn't rain and there's drought, the farmer will suffer. But in a very good year, the farmer should also be allowed to make more money. So if you put up a ceiling, it's not there. So it's a little complex. Your professor is actually going to spend half a day talking about it. And I've already woken you guys 15 minutes earlier. So, but it's an interesting subject. The thing is, okay, having said that, I'll tell you two lines of it. One is the guy called Adam Smith. This is totally out of syllabus. Huh? He said we should have a free market. What is a free market? Nobody will control anything. She likes the product, she'll buy it. She doesn't like the product, she'll buy something. Nothing is going to be there. If you can sell a product at $100, okay, go ahead and sell it. If you're struggling, go ahead and sell it at $1. That's your problem. But there was another guy who has a totally different version. His name is Keynes. He said the government should get involved in everything. Now, this guy said no government, whereas this fellow said government. What did he mean by that? The government must build better roads. The government should build better factories. The government should have better distribution system. Everything else, the government should dictate. The government should dictate how the rice distribution happens. The government should dictate the price of telecom tariffs. The government should dictate how much is the price of transportation. Contrasting views. But each one of them is right. Each one of them is wrong. So it all depends on how you look at it from a market perspective. But that's enough on that. Let's go back to other problems. Okay, but before we get there, it's time to talk about those 4 ads that I made you all see. Did you see those 4 ads? You're wondering what that is, right? Okay. So what was the first ad about? Axe. So what do you think of that ad? I want guys online also to get involved. What do you think of that ad? Very colorful. Okay, what else?
Maybe more male centric.
What is that?
I said
It
it's
was
more of
more
a
male centric.
yeah.
Okay. Let's concentrate more marketing centric also. So what did you think it was trying to tell you? Huh? Male centric is also a marketing strategy. Correct. Great. Okay. So it was a male centric. It was brilliant. Well done. So it was a male centric thing. Okay. What else did it tell you? How the product
Pricing
is going
factor.
to? It had some benefits. Right or wrong, we don't know. We will not bother about it. There are benefits to it. Yeah, somebody else online was saying something. Okay. So more or less that's on it. What's the second ad? Bharat matrimony. Correct. Bharat matrimony. So that was female centric. No, no, just to counter the maybe. Okay. So what is Bharat? Yeah, very interesting. I want to see how you understand Bharat matrimony as. What was it? What is the message? There is a feature.
Secure platform.
Hey, whoever is online, I'm struggling to hear you. Maybe you should speak a little louder. Okay.
I said it's a more secure platform.
Secure platform. Okay. Secure.
And there was more choices also.
Okay. Then what else? There's something there. Name the characters out there. Dhoni, then daughter, then mother. So now, so you're influencing the. You're right. I mean, yeah. So who is it targeted at? Is the Bharat matrimony ad targeted at the daughter or targeted at the mother?
Whole family.
Targeted at Dhoni, get married. It was a pre-marriage ad of Dhoni. So the daughter says, "Mujhe sab kuch pata hai. Mata Shri ko bataiye." So what does that mean? Is that the daughter has the confidence in Bharat matrimony. She knows everything. Now, of course, without having the daughter or the boy or the girl in the picture, you cannot have it. So the targeted audience is the mother here. You're convincing the mother. The daughter is already converted. She already has that conversion factor. She knows about it. Okay. What is the third ad? Amul Dhara. Okay. What is Amul Dhara all about?
That jalebi.
It was just playing on your emotion. It was just playing. That is the ad. Probably you saw it twice, right? Yeah, it's very emotional ad. It's just an emotional. Nothing more than it. Nothing more than it. Just an emotional ad, and it targeted everybody. You saw in you probably the young girl who went off to, like the boy who went off to the railway station. Maybe I saw myself as the father. Somebody else saw as somebody else. So it was a kind of a very unique ad. Then you had, what is that? Asian Paints. Yeah, what about Asian Paints? What was the message that they were saying? Luxurious feel at low cost, right? That absolutely. So they said that you don't have to spend a lot of money to get yourself a great feel. And the world might think it's expensive because how much you need to get yourself a crore ka lottery to be able to afford a nice paint, right? That's what is the thing. So that's all. I just wanted you guys to get an idea of what it is, right? So now what is this? The problem with this is that it will keep skipping slides. So who is this product for? There are two products, right? One is called Elite Matrimony and the other one is Kannada Matrimony. Which one? Which one is targeting whom? That's the question. Kannada Matrimony is targeting only Kannada people. Okay. And what about elite matrimony? Upper class. So you're saying that Kannada matrimony is all for poor people. Kannada matrimony, yeah. So now, yeah, you tell me.
Completely based on language.
Yeah, so a Kannada matrimony can also have rich people come into it.
Yes.
And elite matrimony, non-Kannada speaking. Parameters are different, but they could be an overlap of parameters. That's the point I'm trying to bring you. You could be elite and Kannada speaking. You could be whatever. It could be Kannada speaking and elite as well. I know it meant the same thing, right? Okay. Both can be this one, right? Yeah. Okay. No. That's not Benz and Maruti. That is, that's a guy going to what is it? Udupi restaurant in a Maruti, in a Benz. You both categories, right? Benz and Maruti would separate them. No? The guy who's driving a Benz will not drive a Maruti. Here we are saying you could be rich and Kannada speaking. You want a Kannada, you only want a Kannada person, but you're also very rich. So that is what it is, right? So I hope you get the difference. It's an overlay. This is how it is located. This is Kannada, this is elite. You could be Kannada and elite. That's the point that I was trying to say. If you got this, then what about the next? Pardon? Oh, okay. So what is this now? Who is this product not for? I don't know if you can see it. Diversematrimony.com. It's not for Kannada matrimony. It has, how do you say some Kannada people will never divorce, huh? What a comfort feeling you're giving. And what a disappointing feeling for some. So you think not married people will never marry divorcees. It's a further segmented market. But the point is not that. The point is, who is it not for? Huh? So it's for those who are not interested in marrying a divorcee. Point number one. It's for those who are already married and living happily. Or it again, there is no Kannada element to it. There is no elite element to it. There is a third element to it. And they may not be an overlay, or they could be a small overlay. Could be, right? There could be another, but not a major overlay. Could be a very large. So if you've got all of this, you know that certain products are for certain people and certain products are not for certain people. Right. Now let's go into this. We have had enough of this acts for today. So we'll move on to it. So the topic that we are discussing today is known as segmentation, targeting, and positioning. What does segmentation mean? Is that how do I break my market into different segments? I could just say matrimony.com. What happens if I say matrimony.com? It includes elite, it includes the rich, it includes all speaking languages. It also includes diversities and all that. Then I have a very diluted market approach. I don't have a very strong market approach. To have a very strong market approach, I must know who is my consumer or who is my customer. So I have to break it down to target the entire thing. So the first thing is, if you are a restaurant, you have to make a choice. What is that first choice that you could do? Is a veg or non-veg is the very fundamental thing that you could do. Do you want somebody who's a fast food, Or do you want to go and have a sit down and have a? So it depends on it. I mean, like I'm sure all of you use both kinds of thing, right? Where we normally have a Saturday morning, all of my friends gather up, and depends on who is in a hurry. One will say, let's go have coffee. Otherwise, sit down and chat for all day long and have a fine dine restaurant. But both are these markets. So you must decide which market do you want to address. You cannot honestly address both markets, but you might say, sir, there are restaurants which have it, but that's more like they still want to differentiate between the two. That's it. That's segmentation. The next thing is targeting. Say, look at this. Are you targeting the guys in a hurry, or are you targeting the guys in a very relaxed way? That is one way of looking at it. The second is, look at this ad. This ad says, second PU fail, come to me. I'll give you tuitions or whatever that is. I can do it. So this other one is says, second PUC, well done. We'll give you educational loans for going abroad. See, it's the same segment. It's the same segment of people who are in second PUC. Now you are focusing yours on an increased relevance. I'm now focusing on this is like going all. This is from college going on to a certain market. This is like you said, the market, and then this is a further segmentation. So depending on who you are, okay, oh, you've done well, come, I'll give you some great loans, you can go and study abroad. So you have segment, then you have targeting, positioning. And remember, positioning is in the customer's mind. What do you think about it? It's the same product. There's only one product. What is that product? It's a motorbike. Now, this is a factory worker. This is probably a young college student. Okay. So what does the college student think of the bike as? Ride, ride without your helmet, your hair keeps flying. The great feel, and that's about it, right? I mean, that's exactly what the company wants you to feel. That's that we want you to give at the end of the whole story. But what's a factory worker worried about? Comfort, safety, how much mileage would it give? Possibly he is economical. It's still the same motorbike. And you will notice it at the end of this class is I want you to different versions for the same product. Okay. So you got all of this right? So this is your market. This is your market segmentation. Let me know. We started early. What time do we break for lunch? Oh, what was lunch? What's happening to me? Okay, maybe I'm feeling hungry. Okay. So why didn't this move? Move. Yeah. So this is know your customer. What is this car? Alto. And this is Tesla. Or you could take anything for that matter. But I want you to take by default Alto and tell me, write down as a group or individually, what do you think is the age of the person who's buying an Alto? No, hang on. Age of the person, you might have a different opinion. What is the income? What is the gender? What is you can see this. What is the family size? Where are they likely to be residing in? Which are they in? Wherever they're in. Where do they go out for dinner? And what channel do they watch? And which feature in your car will close the deal? Can you work on it? I'll give you an example. Take Alto and then any one of the, ignore the Brezza. Take Alto and take any. Right? Can you guys work on it? Which one? Family size. Family size, location. Where do they dine? I can read. I just read, standing there. Okay, so I can go full But the problem is, I don't know, there's some timer on my thing. You got everything? Yeah, I'll tell you. Age, income, gender, the size of the family. Then where are they located in? Are they located in Bangalore or are they located in some small town? Where do they go out for dinner? What channels do they watch? And which feature in your car will make this deal happen? I don't know. It's up to you. We'll discuss. We'll discuss. I know what you are asking me, but that's exactly what I want you to think. You got it? Yeah, one Alto, and then any one of the bigger cars. You know, like Alto is something like a 6 lakhs car, but this is like a 25, 40 lakhs or something like that. So, making sense? You there? Okay. So what's the SUV category? Which one?
Point about family SUV.
No, no, SUV size. How big is the family? How big is the family? Are they single or whatever? Family size. For two of them, you take Alto and then you take the other extreme. Whichever you want. You take Mercedes or BMW. I mean, these are just examples. You can replace it with any car of your choice. So you've switched this on. Good idea. But I don't think you can have your video on. That's yeah. So people are able to see two more. But correct. They'll be interested to see you. See me. Yeah, that's why I've correct. No, no, well done. I began by saying great, good job. Right, absolutely. It never stuck to me that actually I can keep it here. Good one, good one. You're doing it for other classes also? Okay, good, nice one. There you go. Good job. Actually, you see, it's as simple as that. I could have kept this here, right? Your thinking is good. Well done. So, are you ready? What's the age of the Alto guy? 25 to? Anybody else having a different age? 18 to 50. So he's saying 18 to 50, and you're saying? So you're saying, so there you go. You're already segmenting the market. Somebody is saying, I'm as diverse as 18 to 50. What is yours? Fixed. If she's 27, she's not buying it. Okay, 25 to 35. And then you have this segment. Somebody has a larger segment. So somebody has this one. Right? Fair enough. Gender, income. 5 to 10 lakhs. So yeah, we are more or less, all of us agreeing on the gender, on the income level. So we're all beginning income level.
We can even go for a higher.
Up to 13. Okay, so it could be a second car in the house. So you see, you're further segmenting it. So now the second car in the house would be, then you have to use the age group will have to fall into that. The user we're talking about, not the buyer. So if your second car in the house, he's buying it for his son who is in the 18 age group. The guy can't be driving a Benz on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and an Alto on Tuesday, Thursday, right? So if the second car could be for dropping his school kids to school. There you go. Yeah, correct. Well, yeah, we just get it, get it. Now, what about gender? So that's the point, is that when you do a segmentation, some segmentation are irrelevant. Imagine if I were to say it's very important that we focus on, I believe that the men are the only ones who are taking an executive MBA program, could be hitting a totally wrong market. I could be going behind a totally wrong market. I believe that only those who are struggling with their salaries are the ones who are qualified to enter into an executive MBA market. I could be at a wrong thought process. So many segmentations are unimportant to us. They don't really matter to us. Just like elite and Kannada could be combined together. So even when you segment it, certain segments are meaningless. That's why I put up. What is the family size? 3 to 4. What is the family size for the other guy, Tesla? So you see, this may not matter. Even family size, would you really be? So the question is, pardon? But yeah. No, I said, how big is their family? How big is their family, I meant? Ah. Okay, so you see, the point is, all of you have done a great exercise, is that some things are irrelevant. That's what I'm saying. Some parameters are ill. What is the location? We know for sure that location for these bigger cars are most likely to be the prime ones. There's no argument on that. Location of these are prime ones, whereas the location of Alto could be virtually everywhere. So what does that mean? If when Tesla wants to open their outlets, they may only open them in the prime 5 cities in India. Whereas if Tesla wants to come up with a very low and cheap electric car, they may want to open up thing like that. Okay. And where do they dine? Doesn't matter. Some of you may say doesn't matter. They could be dining anywhere. Or you might say that the Tesla guys might actually dine in a higher end restaurant. These are all debatable. These are all debatable. I just want you to know how to segment it. That's the point. Finally, what feature closes the deal? What is the feature that closes the deal for an Alto? It's a small one. Use it in traffic. Comfortable at low cost, and then better maintenance. Mileage and reselling. So, but what is a feature that will sell on a BMW? Actually, just one word, right? I mean, it's so you know how to segment it. You also know how to position. Okay, with all of these things, you may know what to target at. So let's say she walks into a showroom. What would I have in mind? Would I have a Tesla in mind for her, or would I have a this? That depends. What is she positioning herself in the whole problem, right? You know the story of a farmer who walked into a Mahindra showroom and they said, hey, you can't afford it. And you got your target market wrong. You got your segmentation wrong. So that we all read that story, but we didn't know how to use it as a tool, right? So today we are going to talk about specialization, differentiation, segmentation, concentration, and position. So what is specialization? If you are into multiple products, could be one product that you actually specialize in. You could be MRF tires, which has got a wide range of tires for all kinds of automotive. Or you could be a guy who is only specializing in, let's say, mining trucks. So that's a specialized market. You don't bother about what happens in the other market. You specialize in a certain product. That is where you're specialized. One example of that is Udupi or McDonald's. We're talking about fast, clean, and value for money service, right? So where else? I mean, I'm sure all of us have discovered that the best food in the whole of India is Bangalore, where you can get a good meal for under 50 rupees. And where else would you get it for? So that is what is the idea of a fast, clean, and value for money service. Incidentally, at the end of today's class, we will no longer be talking about B2C. We've had enough of B2C conversation. Today is the third class. From next onwards, we'll be talking about B2B. B standing for business. Okay, right. So now the question is, what will they add to their menu? The very exotic items, or is it easy to make items or easy to carry items? Right? So you know what they will specialize on. They'll not bring in some very complicated stuff into it. That's what they will do. So you could be a specialized company. You could also be a company which is a differentiator. We are different. There's something unique about us. There's something which is there. Everybody says, I have quality. Everybody says, I have the best service. Everybody says, I have the best value. But then what is that? Blinkit or whatever. The guy says, I deliver in 9 minutes. But no longer is that a specialization. Everybody wants to also deliver it in 9 minutes. So you come up with a uniqueness, and that uniqueness becomes a standard. Then you have to find some uniqueness in yourself, on and on. So one advantage of competitive advantage, differentiation, which is competitive advantage, is that Amazon Publisher Services. So how does Amazon Publisher Services differentiate themselves from, let's say, name any publishing company? McGraw. Okay, and anybody else? Let's see how many of you know. Springer. Okay. Okay, great. So you guys been reading quite a bit of books. Good. So how does Amazon differentiate themselves from, let's say, Rupa and Co. or whatever that other companies are? So what do is that they say that when you go into any one of these McGraw or one of those, they'll say that you must at least print 1,000 or you must print 10,000 copies. Then only we will pick up the order. So Amazon says, want to print 5 copies? Come to me. We'll print it. Your customer places the order, we'll print it and deliver it. That was the beauty of Amazon publishing. That's why you see a lot of upcoming authors make a book. What is that? Yeah, that's why upcoming authors please have. As a matter of fact, I want you to start reading this book called The Whispering Tale of Bangalore by my friend called Sridhar Pai. He's a market research expert in telecom. And so he published a book called Whispering Trees of Bangalore. As you can see, portion of the tree is all withered out and only some portion of the tree is in Bangalore. And the story is that this tree used to exist, no longer exists. It was in Malleshwaram, and now it's just a photo in a frame. And then the tree tells the story of its beauty and how beautiful Malleshwaram and Baswani Gudi was 50 years back and how it's all gone. So how many copies do you think people are buying? 100, 200? And so Amazon is able to do that. That's a unique differentiator. That's a great differentiator nobody can offer. So that is what it is. So I have to come out with Bob and Brad is some guy that I virtually follow quite regularly. They are the physical therapists. I mean, you get a sprain in your a tennis elbow or something. These guys give you some great, you have a lower back problem. These guys have some very unique, so they call themselves the most therapists on the internet, in their opinion, of course. So that is what the whole thing is. So you could be differentiating, or you could have a unique selling proposition. I just make sure that you will never forget it. It's not USB, it's not UCB. You know what is UCB, right? It is USP. So what is that unique thing that you offer nobody else offers? That unique thing, there's all companies have to find that unique thing. And what did this guy offer the most unique thing? He said, I'll chop off the keyboards. That was unique. No, nobody could ever imagine that we could have mobiles which could not even have keyboards. And so that unique thing had people virtually line up for him. And everybody has a unique solution, right? The more unique your product is, the greater is the people running behind you. And his continues to be so unique that people are still running behind Apple as a product. Then segmentation. What is this? There are still people who go and buy fuel from Shell. Why? Quality. They're willing to pay a higher price. There's a premium. Why is it? But there is something very unique about what they do. Maybe they smile and help you out. They're very nice to you. And then, yeah, they do all that. And it's okay. I'm willing to tolerate nonsense if I get petrol 1 rupee less. So I don't go there. So, but then I used to actually wonder, why do people go out there? And then my friend tells me that I only go to Shell. So I said, why do you go to Shell? No, the kind of service that they offer, and you can be sure that 1 liter is 1 liter and 1 liter is not 950 ml or 900 ml. So that is what it is. And happy customers who are easy to sell, come back again and again and recommend you. So I have a very unique story about Krishna Chetty. So what happened was sometime long back, I bought myself a diamond ring, or I should say, if my wife is listening, my wife bought me a diamond ring. So which is the correct way to say it, right? Okay, so what it had 3 small diamonds in it. And one fine day, I noticed the diamond is gone. It's just missing. Well, actually, they say that if you swallow a diamond, you will die or something. So it was actually in my right hand. I was having lunch with a colleague, and then it was missing. So the guy kept calling me every half an hour, Ramesh, zinda ho, zinda ho. So eventually, I said, yeah, fine. But then I went to Krishna Chetty. I went to Krishna Chetty and tell them, hey guys, this diamond fell off. They said, oh, it very rarely these things happen. So anyway, give it to me, I'll fix it up. So when he fixed it up, I said, how much should I pay? So he said, no, come on, it's okay. It could be a fault of ours and I'll fix it up. So I told him, wow, you did it for me. You have won me for life. And I'm going to be regularly shopping at your place. He says, excellent. Thank you very much. How many kids do you have? I said, I have 1 kid and 1 son. Ah, so you will not be regular. If you have a daughter, you will come because you want to buy for her. So you see, people know how to segment their customers also. So he didn't trust me. If you have a son, where will you shop for gold? Your daughter is when it comes. So anyway, so that's what segmentation is all about. So you're talking about segmentation, and what could segmentation mean? So we are talking about segment 11. Okay, I think we'll 10:45. Can you hang on till 10:45? Okay. So segmentation, positioning, and targeting is what we are actually getting into. And every company must have a segmentation. If they don't have a segmentation, they'll be in big trouble. Any company which says that I am addressing the whole will never be successful. They must know how to. We cannot have a service which is into everything. There was I don't know if I've ever talked to you about the Mondeo car. Mondeo, right? That was a Mondeo, the world car. So what happened was Ford. Ford is a very big company, and there's no doubt about it, right? That's an oxymoron statement that Ford is a big company. So Ford had their operations in Europe. Ford had their operations and they actually headquartered in Northern America, right? So what happened was that the guy who took over, the new boss of Ford, said that I'll come up with the best car for the whole world. And that will really shake the market. So he came up with a car which was known as the world car, and it was actually called Mondeo or Mondeo, something like that. It was, I remember they launched this car and we can check that out. Mondeo? No, you're not finding it. No, it has to be a Ford. Oh, Ford World Car. What does it say, Ford World Car? Mond? DE? Oh, okay, that's all. Okay, Mondeo. So he said that he'll come up with this world car. And it's probably 2001, 2002. And the day that was launched, I saw that in India. And actually in Bangalore. I said, wow, Bangalore's really grown big if the day of the launch, the same car is available. But that was the biggest flop of Ford. That's because you can never please every market. What does Indian market want? Fuel efficiency. What does the Europeans want? Luxurious drive. What do the Americans want? They want fast cars. You cannot have a fast car and an efficient car. You cannot have a luxurious car and also a comforting car. So if you try addressing a world, the world will not buy you. So you must segment your market to say, what can I have? What can I not effectively have? So you must be able to segment your product to a different level. That is why segmentation is to say that you market it for the whole world. So how do you segment it? You can segment it on market needs or based on the 4 P's that you have. One example of a very unique segmentation is, let's say, your bed pillows. So you're talking, are you a side sleeper? Are you a back sleeper? Are you a stomach sleeper? For side sleeper, we give you firm pillows. For back sleepers, we give you medium pillows. But in reality, we sleep all 3 ways. So you cannot overkill a product, right? I mean, like imagine, middle of the night, I have to get up, change my pillows because I'm actually changing it, right? So sometimes you cannot over segment a product and it'll never be able to sell it. I mean, if I really go and buy, I'll be confused. I don't know really what to buy for myself. So over segmentation could be a problem. And that also happens when you have too much of choice. Too much of choice. Like what is the symbol for Baskin Robbins? 30? 1-3 or 3-1? 3-1. What does 3-1 mean? They have 31 flavors. So you walk into the shop because Baskin Robbins gives you 31 flavors. But then Baskin Robbins also knows that you will only select among the 5. So they invite you and say that we have actually 31 flavors, and you ask them for the 31st flavor, they'll never have it. But it's just a temptation to make you enter into the market. So too much of segmentation will not go along well. So because one size fits all philosophy no longer exists, there's no way it is. Okay, so I guess that's on segmentation. The issues with segmentation is that you could be segmenting where there is not really worth the effort. For example, segmenting based on what was that, gender for cars is a wasteful exercise. Or on segmenting on IT is also a wasteful exercise. Why would you really want to know where the person is working for a car to be sold? So the issue is that you must have that segment must result in profitability. So the types of segmentation that we can talk about is geographic segmentation, gender segmentation, psychographic segmentation, and behavioral segmentation. Can you give me an example of geographic segmentation of a product? Only in the big cities. So they have done a major geographic segmentation. Any other example of which one? Oh no, go beyond cars. Yeah, go beyond cars. Soft drinks. Obviously, how do you say that? Based on the climate, yeah, and actually, soft drinks is also a very unique. I mean, I'm feeling like I'm sitting at the bottom of the thing, basically. Yeah. Okay, so used to at a higher level. So what happens is soft drinks are all very unique examples of how segmentation happens. I'll give you why segmentation is so important. And again, I'm stepping into somebody else's class in term 3, but I don't mind doing that temporarily. Is that Sony was never able to sell their audio systems in Africa. Initially, they were never able to sell, whereas Panasonic was having a run. They're really doing well because Sony said our audio systems are so perfect. You can do fine adjustment of bass, treble, what else are the other parameters. But Africa is a developing market. In Africa, they just wanted high volume. They really didn't care about, you must have good sense of music to be able to understand what is bass, what is treble. Honestly, I can't make out the difference. I don't belong to that kind of a sense. But the why Panasonic was selling was because they said our Sony is 50 watts speaker, ours is 100 watts. Oh, okay, so 100 watts better. So you see, certain segmentations are all kind of locational segmentation. So you can't go ahead and sell your fine product into another country. Then example of gender, I'm sure you guys can come up with hundreds of examples of gender segmentation, right? And then gender segmentation could also overlay. You might also notice that Fair and Lovely was a very lovely brand for women, and eventually even the men want to look fair, right? So now then you come up with another product which is going to be there. Then all this psychological, psychographic segmentation, that's the example of the Axe ad. You know it's not going to do wonders to you, but you still somewhere in the back of your mind believe that there is going to be. And in yesterday's class, and what he said was very interesting, is that, and so I explained to him, and I felt that I should explain to you. In yesterday's class, there was this guy called Raghu who said, "Sir, Axe is cheating. The ad about Axe is actually, they are confusing the user. This will never happen to them. Of course, it will never happen to them. The moment he just sprays himself, you're going to have honeybees coming all over you, right? So the point is that still applies to every soul and every psychological, emotional attributes, aspirational attributes are the only thing which sells. You know you're not going to get there with that product, but the feeling that you will get there with that product is what it is. For example, Axe, the idea of Axe was, will you buy Axe? No, I'll never buy Axe because they give you all kinds of things. But the guy who is the user of Axe, what is the segmentation? The guy is definitely under 25 or 30, right? And he's got a lower income. He's got a lower income. He may not even be a blue-collared worker. He could be a Dunzo delivery guy. He could be somebody else. So he's not even a blue-collared worker, and he could be in any part of the location. But that doesn't mean that none of us use perfumes or none of us use body sprays. We might be using something else. We might be using the brand that we were talking about is Old Spice. So when I asked him, do you use Old Spice? Yes, I use. So the guy with Old Spice, so what is it? Why does that feature which sells here is that I don't have bad odor. He uses Axe so that he avoids the bad odor because he's going all over the place and he really wants to do it. Whereas the guy at Old Spice could be an IT guy, could be a high income guy, and he may have a different attribute. The very fact that I applied on me, I feel good. To hell with what others is. I feel good. So emotional attributes are very, very important. Every one of us have emotional attributes. Why do we read why do we read biographies, or why do we read uh, how people have performed? Because we want to perform like them. That's we get carried by it. Motivations. Yeah. Obviously, that's very true. The very fact that I buy myself an Apple Watch and not a Samsung watch and we'll talk about that in greater detail when it comes to pricing. Is that anyway? I'll talk for it for a minute. Is that when I buy myself an Apple Watch, what is that? Series 7? What is the one latest going on? Series 7. So when you ask me, is this an what's a new watch? What am I going to say? Yeah, this is Apple Series 7. And what is the next line I'm going to say? And latest and yeah, I'm going to say is 37,000. I don't think you get for 37. I know what. So what happens when we discuss about pricing? The higher cost to the price is why I buy it. I go to Udupi where the idli is 2 rupees cheaper. I'll go and eat there. But I'll buy an Apple Watch because it is 10,000 rupees costlier. So that is the magnitude of pricing, but we'll get it. But I hope you get your point, right? So that's probably what we have. And we'll take a break. Okay, excellent. I will also, I haven't had my breakfast, so I'll just go to my car, have a breakfast. What to do? So the idea was that the example I was telling was that in the old days, when we were just cleaning up this board, you have a whiteboard and then you start writing on it. And then you have a very smart guy who's asking you a high-tech question and you get stuck. So my boss gave me an idea. So he said, when you're talking about all of this, and somebody like her will ask some very complicated question. So then I'll say, okay, listen, let me just write this down here so that I'll remember to talk to you at the right moment. And then slowly, when you are just rubbing it, just rub that off also. Okay, and then say, oh, I just rubbed it off. I will take it offline. Yeah, I will take it off. So that is how I remembered when it comes to it, the way you can handle some tough issues which are coming to you. So anyway, the point is, I wanted you guys to understand segmentation in greater detail. And so segmentation is demographic and psychographic very much, because each of us have some goals, aspirations. Companies have goals and aspirations. Why don't you buy my IT software, which will improve your efficiency by 15%? Well, what is 15%? 15% is very subjective to whatever it is. But the very fact that that is there, well, why don't you buy my company, my software? GE is using this. So you have an aspirational company that you want to do it. Why do you have company references? Is that it is? And what is the problem that you've been solving? So that done, enough on segmentation. We'll talk about one slide, and that slide should cover you on targeting. What is the difference between this and that? And I don't know if you guys know it. Last week, the US Army or the US military killed one Al Qaeda specialist. And what was unique about that operation? They just targeted him and nobody else was injured on that. So there was an old slide when you had a Saudi Arabia oil well where one drone went and exactly hit the oil well. There was no damage of people. They got killed. So targeting is knowing exactly who your customer is and going ahead and hitting him right there. This is known as carpet bombing. Carpet bombing is you don't know where the guy is. You go hit all over the place. Like US went carpet bombing all over the place to look for Osama bin Laden. And now the world has changed. You know exactly where it is. And if you see some of these movies, they seem to pinpoint and hit you right there as such. Okay, so targeting is knowing exactly who your customer is and then doing it. The other day, my wife got a call just yesterday. That was the example I was giving them. Got a call and said, "Are you looking for ISO certification?" Now that's crazy. ISO certification, not every company wants it. And in every company, not every individual wants it. And whoever is doing this kind of marketing is a crazy marketing. You can sell credit cards like this, but you can't do ISO certification. My wife began by saying, "What is ISO?" So you don't do that, right? I mean, you don't even know who your customer is. You can't blindly take up some database of some guys and then say, "What is ISO certification?" So you must, the more you do target attack, the more your success rate is, right? So that is what it is. So this is more about that. We need to get out of this as fast as possible. And generally, though it doesn't apply, how many of you know what is this 80-20 rule? What does it say? Oh, so that's the bad part of it. The 80% of the problems come from 20% of the thing. Any other variations?
80% of the results comes from 20% of the effort or the approach.
80% of the results will come from
20% of the
what is that? What is, so I want to understand what was your philosophy that you're saying 80% online.
80% of the results comes from 20% of the effort or approach we put or we take.
That would be incorrect. So 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers. But that's wrong. You put 20% effort and you get 80% result. No, it cannot be, right? You can say only 20% of your employees are putting 80% of effort. That could mean sense. Even in your group, you will realize when you start working as a group that that is I'll tell you, that is we were discussing on another topic, and that's exactly what the whole story is about. Assuming that she doesn't do any contribution to the team, but she ends up being in a super performing group, she will get good marks. But she could be very brilliant because she could be in a very lazy group. So however hard she works, she'll still get an average number because of the other contributing. So, but again, the point is, this is a very generic rule. We'll not spend too much of time talking about it. It means that 80% of the business comes from 20% of the customers and all kinds of things. For example, you can even elaborate to say that the professor's 3 hours of lecture, only you will have 20% of meaningful meat information. And that's very true. That's very true. If you guys from electronics, you must know that every signal will have a preamble and then a post-amble acknowledgement. Those are not data. Those are just wake up signals and acknowledgement. The data packet is very small. I think the data packet is only 20% of the data. Then you have a header and signal like that. So that is what is the thing. But we'll not spend too much of time on that idea. But just to give you on a different note is Android. Wait, let me get this clean in the very first shot. 20% of the mobile market is iOS, and 80% of the revenue comes from iOS. You know what that means? Is that iOS has only 20% market share, But that market, it's really squeezing that market to get 80% profitable. So Android has 80% market share, but then the margins are so very thin that it really is. So that is what is the beauty of this exercise. Okay. We'll move out of this quickly. And then we talk about, this is a typical situation that I wanted you guys to do, which was one example, is market segmentation of Starbucks. This is from Starbucks. What do Starbucks say? That my customer could be anywhere between 20 to 60 years old. That's it, a huge segmentation. Gender, least important. We're really not bothered. The men come, women come, all of them come over here. And occupation, they could be professionals, they could be employees, they could be students. And the life cycle is right from a single person to a young child over 6 are all our potential customers. There was this conversation that was happening between CCD and Starbucks. When Starbucks came to India along with Wipro, right? Starbucks came to India with Wipro, right? So wake up. Yeah, okay. So when Starbucks, at least you got that fast. So when Starbucks came to India with Tata, they asked, what will you be doing in a market that's crowded with cafe coffee days? How will you be able to challenge that segment? So they said, we don't want students coming to our coffee shops. We don't want young guys coming to our coffee shops. Let them go to CCD. Eventually, they will grow and mature to come to Starbucks. They were so confident, and that's true, right? It's okay to go to CCD when you're in college and they're having a lot of noise and looking for a cheaper cup of coffee. But eventually, when you grow up, you really want to have a serious meeting and you have the money to spend, you will come to Starbucks. So that is what the segmentation of what they're talking about. So they're all over the place. Look at the psychographic, middle and upper class market. And behavior, enjoying premium quality coffee with a relaxing ambience. They know premium quality, you know that I'm paying through my nose for that cup of coffee. And a place for conducting work and forward informal method. They're hard loyalty, heavy loyalty. We will go to a coffee, Starbucks every other time. That's the loyalty factor. So this is how you will do a segmentation for any of your customers that you will have. Everything is subjective. Everything is subjective. Yeah. But that's the American philosophy of the work that the students in the US will also come to. Yeah. Everything. You can challenge everything. So now let's say you know the Starbucks philosophy of the market. What do you think is Gloria and Jeans? What is their philosophy going to be? They know what is Starbucks hitting at. So we know what it is. So you can sit in Starbucks whole day and then enjoy a cup of coffee and internet. Nobody's going to wake you up and all that. But that's what it is. And you know what's the latest news about Starbucks? Why Starbucks is worried? They introduced filter coffee and masala chai. What does that mean? Is that the Indian, if you don't bring and look at your Indian customer, you're going to be in big trouble. They cannot come up with the standard versions of it. You have to introduce filter coffee. And I would rather go to Udupi and have a coffee and meeting rather than go to Starbucks because I love my coffee. So they introduced, so who are they looking at a competition? Chayos. They're saying, now Chayos is saying, come to us for meeting. And as a matter of fact, I don't know how many of you have been in Bombay Airport. Bombay Airport, you can walk into Chayos next to the airport, inside actually the airport terminus, and have coffee, and you can book a room for something like 120 rupees per hour. 120 rupees per hour is less than the coffee prices that we are paying. And just before the pandemic, I dropped down at the Bombay airport, had 3 meetings, took the flight and went back. And that was all at Chayos. So Starbucks cannot assume that I have a super formula and nobody's going to go away. So that is what it is. This is just Google. 1 week back, they introduced. Saying something? Or maybe it's the. What happened? You turned it back to yourself now. No. Okay, no problem. It's fine. So now let's move over this, and we look at the final position, which is called the positioning. What does positioning mean? How do I position myself in your mind? How does my product position in your mind? Just like the example of the motorbike. As a college student, what do you see the motorbike as? And as a professional or a working guy, what do you see the bike? So positioning is what happens in the consumer's mind by default, consumer's mind. I'll give you one example of Tata, just to give you how positioning is so very, very, very important. When Tata's decided, Tata's were among the very recent guys to come into cars, right? They came about 25, 30 years back or something like that, with their first car, which was the Indica. So before they came up with Indica, what was Tata? It was a truck, highly reliable trucks. And the assumption was Tata trucks are reliable, their cars will be reliable too. So we will run on that presumption and the mindset of the user, and they came up with Indica. Now the Indica was a very rustic car. It really was not something, and it got branded as a taxi. So hence the car is not for me. I'll never buy an Indica, because first of all, if I have an Indica, they'll say OTP kya hai, right? So it's the mindset. So I'm never going to buy an Indica. That's it. So Tata was struggling with the Indica. They came up with the Indigo, same story. They were not really able to impress. Lots of complaints, lots of issues. And then they came up with that super thing called the Nano. Unfortunately, the Nano didn't really. There's nothing wrong with the car. It's all about a mental frame of what we have decided that Tata is. Okay. So yeah, so there you are doing the comparison. It's not Tata who is doing the comparison. You in your mind, whatever. Yeah, so you see, it's all under. So then the Nano flopped, and Tata was really in a bad shape. They were in a very, very down on the market share. Then Tata acquired Jaguar. I said, wow, Tata acquiring Jaguar is big news, right? You're really buying a giant. Then we started listening to Tata news. Then they came up with models like Altroz, Tiago, Tigor. They all started looking interesting, but still I'm not buying it. And Tata knows you will not buy the car with these models, but they're slowly changing your perception of Tata. The perception of Tata changed with Jaguar. They introduced new cars. Slowly your mind is accepting the change. And when Nexon came, I said, wow, that's a car. That's a car. People are really excited about the Nexon. And now story has turned now. No longer, now it's an aspirational car. I want to buy it. The Punch, there's a huge waiting for Punch now. If you really want to buy the Tata Punch. So that's what happens. Then the cars are good. The cars were always good. It's just how you are mentally positioning yourself. So that is positioning. One more example of positioning and we are done. Who's this guy? Well, that guy is Munabai. Who's this? See, that's the problem. That's the problem. What's his name? Arshad Bharti. So he says, hey, look at her or look at him. Every one of you saying circuit. He says, though I may be known as Circuit, the very name Circuit has damaged my career. He cannot do any other role. He cannot be a hero in a movie. There's no way. I mean, he was a hero in a couple of movies, but then we don't see him as it. Every time I take him as the Circuit. But that's the problem. Positioning of the mind is so very important. And nothing wrong with him. He's a great actor. But that's what is positioning about. And look at this guy. By default, if he speaks Telugu, I can tell you that he's an IIT aspirant for his parents, right? Because every parent believes that their son should go to IIT from nursery onwards. Okay, so look at this. The very impression that he gives you is that he's studious, he's wearing his glasses. It obviously means that he's studying. Who knows? He could be naughty. It's all about positioning of the mind. So if you got this right, I'm going to give you a very, yeah. Which one? Other, no, it's what I'm saying is you get branded. You get branded. The positioning, that's the mental positioning of your first impression is the lasting and for best, or it could be the lasting impression. You already make up your mind about who this professor is. And then if that mind of who the professor is wrong, then the professor has a long job to correct the thinking that you have. So that is what it is. But if that answers your question, okay. So we have to move out of this now and get to, I'll leave all of this for you. So here's the exercise I want you to do. You choose, these are the features of the iPhone. It has a ceramic glass. What is good about the ceramic glass? Break resistant and things like that, right? It doesn't break. It's a high secure features, right? Very, very secure features. Then it can sync multiple Apple products seamlessly, right? I could be typing a message here. I could just complete the message on my other machine. This is a new feature that they introduced. I didn't know the exact word, so I put this: post live data access to nominee. What happens is, if I die, all the contents of my phone, what happens? And there's serious content, right? I mean, I really have. So Apple introduced a feature wherein I can nominate somebody, my son or my wife or anybody, and I can say that this feature, the access to the phone can be given to my son. Then, of course, you know, the super clarity video of the phone. So all of them are all the features of a single product. What is that product? iPhone. But this market is for somebody, this market is for somebody, this feature is for somebody. So now what I want you to do is a very small 10-minute exercise. I really don't want to take about it. Complete this for whether it's a ceramic feature or the photo feature or the sync feature, you complete this sentence. This is your position. You get it? You want to go back to the features? You pick up any feature on the phone. You know about the phone. Just to give you, for somebody who is worried about his data being lost, who is probably in his late 60s, this post-active feature is a key benefit or something like that. Okay? Just that you know what is positioning. Will not spend more than 5 minutes. Yeah. And all of you online also, please complete it. The chat box is empty today. Okay. Because with this, we'll complete what is called, what is the time? Oh my God. Okay. Do it in 2 minutes. Okay. And then I just will see one of you read it out for me, and then we'll move to the next chapter. Huh? Any one feature. The idea is the market is huge, right? Who are your, okay, don't, right. Let me finish it off in my own conversation in 2 minutes. iPhone is could be anybody from 18 years old to 60 years. But why does she buy the phone? Because she buys the phone because it has got maybe great photography, camera features. So she loves this phone. But the guy at 60, he likes the phone because it has got a post-death feature. Or the guy in IT department, he says only iPhones because they're very secure. So it's the same phone. But how do I send the message to her? She is impressed when she's driving on the road with that huge iPhone photo banners. Says, wow, great photography, right? We see them all over the place. But he's impressed about the secure features. So when you are segmenting the market, your positioning of that segment should also be based on a similar story. That's the point that I was saying. So let's move out of this to another subject, which is enough of B2, what is it called B2? B2C, and now we will go to B2B. What does B2B stand for? And how is B2B, features of B2B?
It's already addressed. Define the market.
B2B is? Okay. What else are the features of B2B? We'll get there. We'll get there. But before we get there, let's talk about astrology. Because astrology is very important. How many of you know astrology? Yeah, and you trust astrology and all that, star signs and all that. But what is business astrology? Yeah, what could be business astrology all about?
Their
Huh?
vision, business vision.
Trend. Okay, very good. I think I'll stop going to the next slide if you give me more examples of what is business astrology. Knowing which way the market is going, knowing which way the economy is heading, what will happen to the market, and all of that, right? Astrologers are act of God. Okay, this is not there. Business companies also die and all that. Your job as a business head, as a marketing head, is to anticipate where the market is going. Visualize what is happening. Do you think tomorrow online education will continue, or do you think new things will happen? Do you think we should radio or app taxis will be replaced by something else? Are you able to predict the future? Are you prepared for the future? Are you able to get rid of stuff which is useless in your product line? You know, a lot of product lines are useless, and all companies have huge product line. As a business head, you need to do this kind of evaluation. Right? I'm going to do a little bit of running, otherwise I'll have to ask you to come again early. So some very basic trends is, you know which way the whole world is going. It's no longer diesel, it's no longer petrol, it's going into electric vehicles. There's no doubt about it, right? We're eventually going there. Could be hydrogen or an alternate fuel as such. You know, the whole world is moving from cash to cashless. I don't really know whether large TVs are going to be important. We will, at least we know for sure that living rooms will not have TVs, or living room will be purely as a non-TV area, and there'll be more bedrooms having TVs and things like that. So that the number of users. Your phone number is of least importance to me now. It's because I know how to reach you in a multiple ways. I know how to reach you on the social network, and I know you are available on WhatsApp. I don't even know what's your WhatsApp number, but I know how to reach you. So this is the way the whole world is moving. You know, the theaters are dead now. Theaters are going to be replaced by streaming. So these are predictable things, but some things are unpredictable, of course. But despite knowing all this, some companies do well, some companies do well. So the question is, how do you stay ahead of the market? How do you beat the competition? How do you beat technology? And how do you beat incumbency? What is incumbency? Yeah. So they say the election results incumbency factor. Incumbency, I'm bored of seeing this government. Beyond a certain time, you get bored of certain things, right? The joy of eating one slice of pizza and the fourth slice of pizza is very different, right? You're eating the fourth slice because you paid for it and you want to complete it. That's the incumbency factor, the boring factor. So even companies are boring now. I wish that's why Lakme or anybody else will keep on coming up with new products so that you have a feeling that you are trying out something different. That said, let's look at this list. How many of you know these companies and which companies you don't know? Yeah, so which is, go by the list. IBM, okay. Where's Casio? Casio.
Wipro,
Kodak, okay.
Netflix, Casio,
Nintendo,
Wipro.
okay. What is next to Nintendo? To the right of Nintendo? No idea? I'm not surprised that you don't know. Next to the below whatever the third column, Future Group, you know that. Okay. Then below Onida, where's Onida? Sony. Next to Future Group is what? Next to Future Group, no idea, nobody. This one, anybody online able to do it?
sir, which one, sir? Which one you are referring to?
What brothers?
Sir, which one you are referring to, sir?
I'm referring to column 4 below Yahoo. Can you name the two companies below Yahoo? Or can you name the companies below Yahoo? All companies. Somebody said something.
Last one is Satyam.
One is
Lehman Brothers. This is Lehman Brothers.
Yeah, other one is
This is
Satyam.
this is not Accenture.
Accenture.
No. Yeah. Satyam is there. Lehman Brothers.
Yeah, Lehman Brothers. This is Arthur Anderson.
Oh,
You know what is Arthur Anderson? Okay, so that's what you will not know. Arthur Anderson. You will not know Lehman Brothers. Do you know a company called Enron?
Enron, yes.
Enron. This is called housing.com. This is Satyam. So what's wrong with all these companies? Bankrupt. Why? Perfect. Go ahead. Give me, and I want you to give me the answer. Why did they go bankrupt?
In case of Satyam, so
No. There's something else. The management wrong. The management did wrong things.
They diverted the funds.
Yeah, they got into wrong things. They went into financial frauds. Arthur Anderson, Lehman Brothers, Enron, all of them. Satyam, you know what happened to Satyam? They adapted the technology, but they cooked up their books, right? So you have companies which are doing well, falling down just because the management is not good. Point number one. Point number two, you have Kodak, you have Future Group, you have Sony, you have Nokia, all of them doing well, but not realizing that my technology is old. I have to do something else. Kodak should have realized that Kodak should have done something. And just this morning, while I was driving, I was listening to a TED talk. They said that Fuji, which is the other competitor, they totally moved out of photo films and they went into chemical industry. They started supporting the chemical industry. They started going into hospital films, X-ray films and all that. That's a huge business. So there you go. That's a different, yeah. And yeah, absolutely. And then what about Future Group? They should have become Big Basket. They should have become Flipkart. They should have become the right thing. They just did not wake up. And Casio, I don't know about you guys, but the first calculator that I had in college was Casio. I don't know. Do you guys also have a Casio? But technically, not for your generation, but for my generation, the first electronic thing that we laid our hands was on a Casio calculator, FS76. I still remember. The day my dad bought me an FX76, I felt that I'm already in. Yeah, see, that aspirational feeling. What does FX76 do to me? Nothing. It didn't improve my marks. But the fact that I had it, my dad said, I'll buy you something else. No, it has to be FX76. And you don't get them at that time. Importing it, you go and buy them at Burma Bazaar or some place. My dad said, I'll get you something. No, don't get me FX76. Your son will not do well. Yeah, he got him and he still didn't do well. That's a different point. Okay. So you see, these are companies which just refuse to adapt. And MySpace, none of you know what is MySpace. MySpace is nothing but Facebook. Every feature of Facebook was there in MySpace. That was your second avatar. That was MySpace. MySpace in the online world. Orkut, you have Orkut, you have all of them, but they just are not waking up and surviving. And this is Xerox. Xerox, like what you were mentioning about, Xerox is an example of not bad luck. It's just karma for them. See, what happened was Xerox, there's a movie that you should watch, which is called Raiders of the Silicon Valley or the Pirates of the Silicon Valley. This is a movie about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. So Bill Gates tells Steve Jobs, "Tum chura ke hamara product tum chula rahe ho." And Steve Jobs says, "Hey, you are robbing my product." Then they both agree, no, we both are robbing Xerox. So that is how it is. They used to go to Xerox, and Xerox would come up with some great products, but they didn't know how to use those products. The great GUI that you have on which all started off with Apple, Macintosh, it was a pure copy, Control C, Control V of Xerox. They just don't know how to use their product. You know BlackBerry. But look at these companies. IBM, 100 years old, still dancing. What is a book called? Elephants Can Dance was the name of the book about IBM. They're giants and they're still dancing. Nintendo, they came up with what is this guy called? Mario. They replaced Mario with Pokemon. Pokemon was what? Augmented. Yeah, you had to carry your mobile and then you find the thing. It was a craze at that time. It somehow went off. Wipro, constantly innovating themselves, constantly innovating, just applying thoughts all the time. So that's what companies are. Some companies, bad management. Some companies don't able to think. Some companies don't know how to survive. So if you've understood all of this, that doesn't matter. It's just a question of how companies are adapting. So now, what should a company do to grow? With all this learning, give me 4 or 5 things that a company should do to grow. Let's see that. What is that? They should use new technology. Okay. What else? Target, segment. Okay. And position, I'll put that also. Okay. And what else? What do you mean by understand the market? Now you've got to get class number 3, better get into specifics. Service is okay. What else? What else? Innovate, okay. They're all leaders. No matter. What else? Very fundamentally, what should you do to it? That's all very nice to talk. Now, hang on. Now, I want you to focus on the word grow. You focus on the word customer. And just because you started it, now you're responsible. Base. Don't rub it off. Huh? Okay. So now tell me, you started it. So how do you grow? How do you increase customer?
By understanding your current base, understanding your product marketing, and positioning it to a different audience.
Nice, very nice words. Very nice words. But let's get to specifics. Yeah. How do you increase your customer base online? How do you increase your customer base? Capturing what?
Customer acquisition, new customer.
How do you acquire new customers? That's what he's giving the same thing, he's just turning it around and doing it.
We should have something
Give
innovative.
me, stop. What's your name? Ajay, I give you 2 minutes to rephrase that answer in a very short way. Think and then you. Experimenting. Okay. Okay, but I'll not write that. Okay. Marketing, we're all about marketing. Increasing your market, expanding your market. How do you have whatever the spelling is? To hell with it. Okay. What can I do? Expanding your market. If you are an India-based company, go all over the world. If you're a Bangalore-based company, go to other parts of the India. Expand your market. Point. Expand your geography or your market. Second is expand your products. Correct? So we are talking about two things. Expand the market or expand the products. Right, I'm going to make you guys write the Ansoff matrix. I'm telling you what that matrix is, and you're going to write it. It's called the Ansoff matrix. So what are they here? Now, where are we? We have an existing market, which company are we talking about? MTR or whatever you want to talk about, or name any other company, Tata. Or Tata Automotives. Tata Automotives, they have an existing market. What is this market? India. And they have existing products, correct? So one is this segment, existing products, existing customers. What is the other product? Existing markets, new markets, correct? So you can sell cars for India, which is what you're doing right now. Also sell cars in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Australia, and all that. So the same existing products you can sell into new markets. Understand? That is how you grow. Yes or no? Then the third thing that you can do is you can add new products to your segment. New products for whom? For existing customers. So you have new products for existing customers, and then you have new products for new markets. Got it? These are the 4 ways in you will expand. Yes or no? For example, Adani Group. Adani Group is now existing products in existing markets. They decide to come into telecom, which is new products for new markets. They have no idea how a telecom market works. They can add new products for their ports. They also have, Adani also has that oils and all that. So they can bring olive oil, they can bring sunflower, all those are Adani products, right? So they can bring all of them. They are selling only sunflower. They also bring in olive oil. That is new products for existing markets. They can sell sunflower in Australia, which is existing products for new markets, but they might get totally into a different area, which is new products, new markets. So that kind of a segmentation is called Ansoff matrix segmentation. Right? One slide, you guys have completely understood. Right? No doubts? Clear? Clear? Good. So if you've understood that, let's then move into, this is for you to, okay, example is here. See here. Example is ID dosa. They are in India market. They are now also sold in Middle East. What is it? Existing product, new markets. Okay. So, yeah, exactly. The new products are here. ID Dosa now also gives you instant coffee. What is it? Same guy, early in the morning, you're going to buy dosa. You will also buy coffee. Same market, same user, same market. That is one thing. Yeah, same market. But this is Inox or Adani for that matter. Inox is into movie theaters. Inox is also into wind generation and all that. It's totally different markets. So you got that is called diversification. They get into a totally new market. Following me? Okay, good. So now, the more of it, let me begin with what is market share?
Percentage of our products sold in the total.
Percentage of our products sold in the total market is called market share. What is relative market share? You have it right here, but what is relative market share? And give me an example. Your example of relative market share. Let's say, what is market share? Tata has 20% market share of the auto industry.
That's the one compared to previous.
That means for every 100 cars sold, how many 20 cars are being sold by Tata? You understand? Market share. What is relative market share? Yeah, relative. So out of 100, you got 20. You got this guy got 70 or something like that. So you have a relative market share. So the comparison of these two is called the relative market. Comparing yourself between Maruti and you is a relative market. How much is it? Business sales this year compared to the leading company's business sale. How much did I? With one or the whole group also is fine. It's up to you. How do you want to slice the cake? You want to be happy with it. That's a market share. That's a market share. Absolutely, absolutely. For example, we have a next slide which will give you a better picture. Yeah. If you understood what it is, then market growth. What is market growth? How much is a market growing every year? How is the market growing for? Let's talk about the year 2020, not 2021 or 20. How was the automotive market in 2020? Bad. Yeah, down. So the market growth is down. The market is not growing. But what is the story that Ford is telling, and what is the story that Kia is saying? Ford India is calling up the head office and saying, India market not growing. We are just not able to sell. We are winding up our operations and we're getting down. What is the Kia salesman calling his office in South Korea and saying? He's saying India market is not growing, but in whatever growth that we are doing very well. You understand the difference between the two? Is that in a relative to Ford, they're doing very well. But the market as such is not doing very well as such. So you have individual sales. This year versus last year is quite bad. But compared to others, we are not there. Earlier, India was buying 100 cars. This year, India bought only 50 cars. But out of the 50 cars, earlier they were only taking 20%. But out of the 50 cars, right now, I'm doing 35%. So that's relatively a market. You guys get all these things. Okay, and who will ensure that I upload it? You have my number in case I don't do it. Okay. I have not uploaded, he says, to the LMS. So I'll take care of it. Okay. So final topic. What is the time? 12:03. Okay, we'll wind up exactly at 12:30. The final topic that we have to discuss today, and partly of it, so that you and class A is also in the same class, is that all this comparison of market share, relative market growth, then how are you performing? How is the market? How good is my product? One company called Boston Consulting Group came up with one matrix called the BCG matrix. The BCG matrix made it very easy for them to put any business in a low, high performing, depending on market growth rate and depending on market share. We'll see what it is. It's a very easy matrix, and this is your matrix. We must first understand the two axes. Market growth rate is low, market growth rate is high. Give me an example of a market which is not growing very well. No automotive, enough of automotive. Yeah. Give me a market which is not growing. Real estate, you believe is not growing? No, up to you. If all of you decide on that, give me another example. Netflix, you mean that the OTT market is not growing? OTT market is booming. No, market, not company. Market, sector. EduTech is not growing anymore. We decide. Textile. Textile, you said. Okay, so we believe that the textile market is not growing. Fair enough. Let's begin with some comparison. Let's begin with, we believe that the garment industry, we'll say the garment, we'll now use nicer words. We'll say we use the garment industry. The garment industry is not doing well. Okay, it is not doing well. So nobody is interested in getting into that business. Nobody wants to do there and all that. But in that industry, so now we're going to modify that to say the retail garment industry, or the West Sides, the Fab Indias, the Zaras, and all of that. Okay, we are talking about. That whole market is not growing well. I guess people are tired of buying clothes, but you guys will never be, I know. Yeah. So, but they're all tired of buying clothes. The market is not growing. A new player doesn't want to enter. In such a condition, somebody has a very high market share. So we assume West Side. We assume that West Side has a very large market share in that market, which is not growing. So those market is known as a cash cow. Okay, are you guys getting me? Look at another sector like Star. What is a Star? The market is zooming. And which is, give me an example of a market which is just going high. Online grocery delivery is a huge market, superbly growing. Every month on month, people are switching over to it. And who is the market leader? Swiggy. Swiggy is the market leader. Doesn't matter. Let's conclude that Swiggy for once. Okay. So we have Swiggy, who is a market leader. They have a huge market presence. The market is growing. Swiggy is having a great time. Correct? That's the best market to be. So a market in which the market rate is very high and you have a huge market share is called the star product of a company. It's a star product. So now, just because Swiggy is doing very well, we have another company called, what is that upcoming delivery company? New one, Zepto. So now Swiggy say, wow, it's a great company. So Zepto is a small startup company. They go and they want to enter the market. So when they enter the market, what is their share of the market? Low. But how is the market performing? Market is performing high. But should they continue to be in that market or should they get out of that market? Don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Something could happen to Swiggy and Swiggy could collapse and we might take over, or we could do a good ability to execute. We might get the right guy. We'll get the Swiggy operations head to join us. And then we can move from question mark to star. So any product, any company will have a product, which is a start. They'll have new products, which are question marks. And they'll have existing products where the market is not growing and they have a very low market share. Like, for example, you have all these companies and then you have PeopleSoft. PeopleSoft, nobody really is going into PeopleSoft now. It's all Oracle or whatever that is. But you have some existing clients with whom you have a contract. You have to deliver people these services. The market is not growing. You have a very small percentage of the market. You still have to survive. So you continue to use these things. For example, every market is going towards 5G. But you still have, you still have 2G customers. You still have people who are using the ordinary phone. So, but BSNL is obligated by the government, saying that you can, even Airtel is obligated by the government to continue such operations. But do you think they're going to spend time on this? No, they're going to just hang on to it. What are cash cows? Cash cows are those, for example, for Reliance, where is the money coming from? Oil, petroleum. Petroleum is the thing. But are new companies getting into petroleum products? No, that's not the industry new people are getting. But within the industry, they are the leaders in the business. So you have stars, you have question marks, you have dogs, and we have cash cows. And you must be very careful. Cash cows are very important because they are the ones which give you the money with least effort. Nothing to everything is in autopilot mode. Kuch nahi karne ka Mukesh Ambani ko. He just sit there. The oil fields will give rigging. Petrol prices will go. You will buy more cars, and then he will continue to make money. But if he does something wrong, and if he ignores this market, that could result in every other product going to dogs because that is feeding it. That is feeding it. When he started the telecom, it was a question mark. He was not sure whether he will survive. Even we were not sure whether he will survive because there was BSNL, there was Tata, there was Vodafone, there was Airtel, Aircel, everybody was there. He was one among them, but they killed all of them. So he used his cash cow to start a product which was a question mark, and that product became a star. So that is what it is. Across various timelines, across various products. Of course, what is Reliance example of dog? Reliance or Reliance Jewelry or Reliance Footprint or Reliance Communication is their the rivalry company, but you getting it right. Reliance, that's the idea. That's the idea. Or Reliance Finance or whatever. There's so many Vimal showrooms or whatever that is. Yeah, Reliance Defense is question mark. It has a huge potential. Dogs are more or less dead. You're just keeping them, You're nice to have it as a pet when the dogs are young. But once they become old, like how they are, right? So that's the idea behind the concept. So do you guys get all of them? And anything can go to any place. The example that I was giving, let's see how much of you can think. A dog became a star last year. Big Basket. It was, yeah. Baiju is now a star heading to be a dog. Yeah, no, seriously, a star heading to be a dog. You know what's happening with Baiju's, right? With Baiju's, nobody wants to now go ahead because the classes have opened. So why would you want to go into Baiju's? Zoom is also, yeah, it's all. See, one idea that I was telling, just as a comparison, in the middle of the pandemic, they found out that a drug for tuberculosis was a solution for the pandemic. You remember that? Trump actually, what is it? No. It is called hydrochloroquine. So that was a company, poor guy sitting and making TB drugs. He's saying, "Kya karega, chal raha hai." One fine day, he gets a call from Trump. Hey, 1 million shipment karo. So overnight, the dog has become a star, but not always, huh? Not always. So once in a while. So why do you do this? The idea is that you must know where your products are based in. And if you know where your products are based in, you know how to handle them in the future. So when I give you a second assignment, I might want you to start focusing. What's the time? 12:15. So we are more or less done. And all of you know your assignment. No, relating you guys will always be a question mark. Why would you enter a market which is low? No. He knew nobody will enter a low growing market. Why would anybody enter a low growing market? Will you manufacture 2G phones? No, you will not enter. You enter a market which is growing, but within the market, you're doing a different segmentation. That's a different thing. That's a different thing. Nobody enters a dog market. I mean, he must be crazy to enter a dog market. Nobody will enter it. Everybody believes that he will become a star. Everybody, Z5, then what is the other freeze thing? Huh? Woot, Z5, why? They are all entering it because the market is growing. But eventually what will happen? 3 or 4 of them will survive and the others will. Yeah, like Ola and Uber. Everybody wants to enter that product. Now it's not there. But now you tell me, what is Ola and Uber? Would you want to enter? Is Ola a new company? Gola, a new company called Gola or whatever it is. When they enter it, which market is it? Question mark or this? Mine is there. You still believe a lot of people are switching over to Ola and Uber. So there's a possible for another new player to enter.
Puri and lady finger.
Puri and lady's finger. What?
Correct. That is something that we'll talk about. How do you move from here to there and all that? Good. That's what is your job. In the sense, let's take up. Oh, no, nothing wrong about it. Let's say Ola. Now look at Ola. We'll do a Ola. That's exactly what I want you to do. But because you asked me, what is this? High, low. Ola ka abhi kaun sa hai? Ola taxis, right? What is that? App taxi is here. Now, what is cash cow? They may have Ola Auto. Maybe low market and yeah, actually cash cow is this. Cash cow is the taxi, right? Cash cow is a taxi. He's making from there. Actually, right now it's somewhere in these two. Both of them are in this market. Because it's a new growing product. Ola Electric is where? Ola Electric is here. Ola Eats is here. Ola doesn't really have a dog yet because it's still a young company. But a company like Tata, if you do this for Tata, Tata will have all kind of products which are for Tata Steel is here. More or less, eventually steel will get. They're really not. Or Tata Steel is here because they are generating the money. The star could be TCS. The question mark could be Tata Prime or Neo, something like that. Each one of them have. You get it? That's the way it is. Yeah. The market is growth is raw. The best example is both for that matter. For example, the best example of cash cow is cow itself. In the sense Nandini. KMF, virtually most of us are buying the KMF products. But is the consumption rising? No, consumption is not rising. There are not too many new players coming and shaking up the market. They are coming, but they are not really, they are just on the bottom line kind of a situation. Nobody's, yeah, for whatever reason, this is their market share is high. But overnight, people are not drinking 10 liters of milk and 20 liters of milk, and overnight, the consumption is not growing. It's there. Once in a while, you might order a paneer, but that's beside the point. So this is cash cow. Now, remember, if they handle this badly, they don't take care of the distribution. And just the other day, just yesterday evening, I was at the Mantri Mall and I noticed that Nandini has a distribution outlet on the food court out. They're really reaching out to a different segment now. Is a question mark. Which one? Yeah, their products are increased. They have to do that. They cannot rely on one single thing. But this is just one way of doing it. I'll just give you guys one more thought, but we'll go to it later on. What do you want to know about it? Fact sheet. So we'll talk about what is the time? Okay, I'll do the fact sheet in 10 minutes. Okay. What is a elevator pitch? 30-second bite of all that you have said, want to say in a very smart way. What is a Twitter message? It's a 300 word capture of what it is. A fact sheet is a single page Word document. It's a single page Word document which has the highlights of your 15 PPT that you're presenting. You get it or not get it? What are you doing in tomorrow's assignments? Or what is the case study people have? Future group. So what are you going to say? Future group today in big bad shape is now been asked to revive itself. What is this? This is not a fact sheet, but you're heading towards it. This is a fact sheet will have, I'll tell you what a fact sheet will have. 2 lines about the market, 2 lines on the opportunity, 2 lines about how you are addressing it. You're just extracting every information from your PPT and giving it, and 2 lines about who the team is and how the future looks like. This looks like everything that I'm asking you to do on the presentation. Exactly. The entire presentation is 15 PPTs or 10 PPTs, and I want all of them coming in a single page.
Okay, highlights of every slide.
1 page. So if I'm a busy guy, I don't have time to look at your sheet. I just look at your fact sheet and decide whether I am worth investing in you or not. If the fact sheet is not impressive, then I say throw it, right? So do you think I really have a time to look at? I mean, I as in who's the guy? Ratan Tata or somebody else. Do you really have the time to look at all of them? You just give me a fact sheet. Wow, which market are you? I am in a cash high market, high growth market. Wow. My competitor, I have a market which is a $500 million market. I today plan to take 10% of the market in the first 5 years and I'll eventually hit 30% market in the next 10 years. My team consists of the smartest guys from the smartest management school, and hence you guys should invest in or something like that. Okay. The future is like that. Today we are in India, tomorrow we'll go all over the world. Not you can pictorial plus words. Yeah. You will fill it up. Fill it up. Yeah, but at least 10 people, 10 pages you will need. No, 10 pages you will need.
That is assignment 2, right?
Assignment 1. And then you have a third part. You have to read a case study, which you have to do individual. You have to do individual. It is, what is my intention? My intention is to know exactly pinpoint what is she good at. What will happen is, let's say this is a group, and then I know you did great with it. I don't know who contributed. Each one of you are going to say, I contributed, right? So now, when I look at her assessment of the case, now I know that she's used her brilliance to do it, whereas her assessment of the case is just not there. So how do I pinpoint to know who's a good performer? Yes or no? Why? That's my job, right? I really have to honestly go ahead and say pattern on a back and say, good job done. And that's really what I want to do. I really have to identify those 10, 12, 15 smart guys in this group to say that you're heading the right way. You're here for course correction. Yes or no? There's something wrong with your careers, or there's something more exciting that you want to do with your careers. That's why you've come here. Now, if I don't correct you, I mean, that will be unfair on my part, right? I'm here to correct you. You came all the way not to be said, good job done, chalo ho gaya. Right? I remember I joined a cricket coaching when I was in class 5 or class 6. Okay, and the first day I went to went for coaching camp, the leather ball hit my thumb, and I had a swollen thumb. So the rest of the coaching, I sat down and watched them play. End of the coaching camp, there was a certification ceremony, and I was also given a certificate because I paid for it. Is that what you want at the end of the class? No, you really want me to improve your stroke. I really want to make sure that you're bowling well. So in which case, I must know who's doing what, right? So you see, I take my job seriously. So, and I think I'm entitled to take it. Get my point? Pinpoint. I really know, get the good ones and correct the bad ones. There are no bad ones. Finally, last line. If you don't like BCG matrix, let's go with the G9 cell matrix. What's the time? We still have time. The G9 cell matrix uses the same formula. Industry attractiveness. What is the equivalent of that in BCG market? Industry growth. Business unique strength. What is the equivalent? Relative market share. So is the industry attractiveness high? Yes. Wow. Everybody is getting into streaming applications. What is your strength? My strength is really good. Continue to invest in that market and grow that market. Grow it. Plow money into that market. There's no cash cow concept. There is no star concept. There's no question mark concept. They do it differently. Is the industry growing? No, the industry is not growing. But are you having a good hold? Nandini Milks. Yeah, hold on to it. Is the industry growing? No. Typewriters or 2G phones? No. What is your market share? Weak. Sell the unit. Get rid of the unit. Get rid of your employees. Reassign them to other projects. So each of them have a new way. You don't like BCG, you can do this. There is something else other than BCG, but that's what it is. Okay. Right. Anything else, sir? Are we good to go? No, not in first assignment. Not in first assignment. First assignment is over with STP. The last thing we'll do about is. Are you guys clear about your assignments? I can do one thing. And you just share this with the group also. You want to give me a call anytime after, schedule a call with me at after 9. Any day, you can give me a call after 9 o'clock and say, as a group, we have any question, I'm willing to answer it. Oh, no morning. No morning. I meant 9, 10, 11. I'm okay to take a call. But okay, I can spend one group once. That's the only thing. As a group, any question that's on your mind, you can, it's easier for me to speak to you for 10 minutes and answer your questions, but do it. Okay. I'm always available. Okay. And I think there's somebody on the chat who said something. Business to business. Hi, Samita. Are you guys following me?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So Srinivas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Who else is here? HP. Aishwarya. Aishwarya.
Sir.
She's not there.
Yes, sir. I'm here itself.
Aishwarya, we need you.
Yes, sir. I'm following it, sir.
You're following, right? Yeah, all your classmates are inquiring about you. Dhruti. Dhruti sounds familiar. Was she in the class? Amazon, Miss Amazon, right? Hi, Dhruti. Yeah, she's having lunch. Okay, good. Take care. I hope you guys are enjoying my class.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good, good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now stop recording. Oh my God, cancel. Stop recording.